Welcome back to another episode here on the Hart podcast. What's up, Ethan? How you doing today, man?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, man. We're gonna get straight into it. We spoke already before. You told me you were in higher ed now for 28 years. I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
student affairs in Texas, 2 decades at Texas Tech, VP, if I'm not mistaken, at the Western Kentucky, and now you're in New England, man, at the University of Hartford. Most people pick a lane and stay in it. What kept you kind of pulling to the next thing and always wanted to be challenged?
It's a sum total of a lot of different things. I am interested in higher education, and I have been blessed to have given opportunities at different institutions to continue to explore my craft and to try to really advocate for education overall. I spent a majority of my time in Texas, my home state, and I truly enjoy and love Texas. But I also felt like the world's a big place, and I don't know if I want to live just in one place my whole life. And so I took a chance and moved to Kentucky for a couple of years, which was a lovely experience. It's a beautiful state, fantastic people. And now I get to experience New England, someplace that I've always wanted to spend time and to explore. And the University of Hartford was a wonderful opportunity for me to be able to add that to my professional portfolio, but also experience another part of this great country.
So it was an easy yes when the opportunity arose.
It was an easy yes, and it was an easy yes to come to Hartford, particularly because I was impressed by both this institution and by its president. Lawrence Ward is the president here at University of Hartford, and his vision and his leadership inspired me and convinced me to take a chance on Connecticut.
I love that, man. And
Yeah.
you've always been in higher ed in this space, or were you ever like in the corporate world?
I did a brief stint in the corporate world. Dipped my toe in the corporate experience, which was a lot of fun. And I got the opportunity to work for Deloitte, which is one of the largest companies globally, and they're a fantastic organization, and I truly enjoyed my time with them. But higher education is what I know, and it's what I subscribe to, and so I had the chance to get back in and do a little bit with that. Watch out for some wild phone calls coming in while I'm having a
Hey,
conversation with
man, listen, that's why I'm just honored to even have this conversation with you now because I know how busy you are. So no, definitely
you. No worries.
appreciate it. I appreciate the time. Now it's pretty cool, for you to. We always talk about passion and purpose. Clearly,
Yes,
you
sir.
have the passion and purpose for what you do. What got you into it, though? You left high school knowing this is where my past was going to take me, or life got you here. What happened?
Not at all. Yeah, yeah. The beautiful thing about working in higher ed, some people have a path and some people know their path, and mostly that you'll find that in terms of the faculty, those people who are immersed in their discipline and they are so focused on that they continue to evolve and research and grow in the knowledge base, or are also compelled to teach it, and that's a wonderful way to go about approaching this work. But if you're in administration like me, there's no degree in administration as an undergrad. I was working in college on the university campus. So I was working on campus when I was an undergrad, pursuing my degree, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I missed a chance to. I thought I was going to go to law school, so I missed a chance to meet the cohort deadline. Law
Yeah.
schools were a little more strict about what your timing was when you could start. And so I missed a cohort that would have been immediately after graduating. So I knew that I'd have to wait a year to get into law school. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had an English degree, which I love my English degree, but I didn't have a teaching certificate to go with that. And as often as the case when you're in liberal arts, you're like, what do I do with a liberal arts degree? There's not a sign that says English majors wanted. And so I took the time to do a graduate program in higher education, and that was particularly designed. The one that I started in was to design to help people who are going to be working in 2-year community college settings. And so it was credentialing, but it was also talking about how the higher education enterprise works. That's how I started, and I didn't realize that the work that I was doing as an undergrad. I was a student assistant in a student activities office, and I was a night manager in the student union office, and I didn't realize that those people that I was working with. That's their full time profession, and they have a passion about the work, and so stepping into that role of that graduate education experience, being reinforced with the fact that I was doing the work alongside with those people who have made this their work, their profession of choice, really kind of resonated. And it made my graduate experience so meaningful because the courses that I took in the evenings and in the philosophy and the psychology and the pedagogy, the things that I was learning in that evening classes made sense every day when I went in to work as a graduate assistant and work with college students. And so it was a great experience. And so that's how I stumbled into higher education, because I think that half of us in higher education inadvertently stumble into it.
I hear it a lot. People
Yeah,
say, I didn't even know this title existed before I
yeah,
got it. Like,
for sure, for sure. So this grows, and it grows on the opportunities. And like I said, I worked for 20 years at Texas Tech University, and that's my alma mater. And Texas Tech University was an exceptional. It still is an exceptional institution. But to me, they gave me a wonderful opportunity to grow as a professional, and I was blessed and fortunate enough at that institution to consistently have opportunity for growth and development along my professional career path. And that's one of the reasons why they kept me around for 20 years. But I learned the ropes at Texas Tech.
yeah, you're good, man. And especially that you kind of, it's like you grew up on the streets over there.
That's right.
Right.
That's right. It's my hometown. I mean, I didn't get far, and so
Yeah, man, that is
Lubbock,
so
Texas.
cool. That is so cool. So you've probably seen a lot of friends come and go through the school, family. Did you have family that went through the school as well?
I did. I did. Both of my parents did postgraduate, post-undergraduate, post-baccalaureate work there. In fact, my grandmother did her master's degree there. So it is an institution that has a lot of family history for us.
Wow. Yeah, man. That's actually really cool, man, to know that you even had a piece of, that school for the time that you have been there. You were able to
Yeah.
kind of get back. You thinking about you when you were in the college life, obviously very different today, but what are some of the things that you probably had challenges with at that time and says, hey, if I can fix this, I would fix it? That maybe you feel like, you know what, we've really gotten and tightened this up here, or maybe you've implemented some of these changes.
You bet. The thing that I learned from my experience as a student, and then the other side of that coin being a professional working with college students, was I learned the value not just of the education. I mean, of course, that's the fundamental experience that we're trying to promote and support for a student. That classroom experience with that faculty and that expression and generation of knowledge and ideas and learning and application. But the thing that is parallel and I think is vitally important for any college student, and I'd say this to every college student that I talk to, is to look at an engagement with the institution. And I use that term very broadly because sometimes that's the classroom. Sometimes that's a connection you have with a faculty member. And sometimes that's outside the classroom. That's an extracurricular activity. It could be a student organization. It could be the residence hall floor you live in and the intramural team you play on. Anything that builds these connections with you as a student to the institution, to the student body, to the faculty, immeasurably helps the students' progress and success. I mean, it doesn't do the studying for you. You still have to do the studying. But when you have that investment in the institution more than just a transaction, it's your community. And when it becomes your community, you have this investment within it that's intrinsic, and it supports you in that process to be successful. It keeps you motivated to do that extra studying or to make sure you show up to class because to do so continues to invest in you. And so student engagement is the thing that I took away from it. And that's the foundation of what we talk about in student affairs. That's where I started, is that student engagement is a very powerful contributor to the student's overall success. Yeah. And the beautiful thing about it is it can be any which way. It can be, like I said, in the classroom and outside the classroom. Sometimes it's not even on campus. but it is in and around the idea of being a college student. And when we can enhance that and find engagements for students, that's when the magic starts to happen. And that's when students, I think that's when they really accelerate and become excited about their momentum in education.
And you leaving it on students just now. One of the things that you mentioned that I really appreciated was you used the phrase of fertilizing the future.
Yeah.
Like, what did I come up with? And if you could kind of expand on what that actually is, what does that mean to you?
I think that's our role in education. I mean, and that's across the whole K through 12 to K through 16 to K and beyond. That fertilizing the future of our country and of our culture, and American culture, is lifted through education. As we contribute to and support people's growth intellectually, cognitively, socially, psychosocially, we're enhancing the opportunities that they have to be both successful and to be successful for their families, but also their contributions to our communities. And we build a stronger foundation and greater opportunity, I think, across all of our, not only our professions, the disciplines, but also our communities and our civic engagement when we enhance what we do with education. Because the more people understand about the world and the more they understand about the conditions that people live in and the opportunities that they have or the lack thereof, the more that we learn about the challenges we have in the civic arrangement that we have, the American cultural experience, and the ways that we can enhance that and make it better for everybody, that's the foundation, which is, I think, a truism and a pillar of what the American cultural experience is, or it can be and should be.
I always love the way that you just put it together. When we spoke about just college and really giving it a different meaning, right, that people don't talk about. That was one, fertilizing the future, absolutely. But also the transition from that 18 to 24-year-old, right, and the growth that's happening at that moment and what a college university actually does for the mindset, right, being okay to fail, being able to change, and have that guidance, right, community. The transition from, no one ever told me, man, the transition from high school to not going to school, you go from all these friends to all gone, right? The transition to go into a college becomes a little easier, but I think there's so much ways that people could really talk about college, and you just say it's so good. Why is that 18 to 24 also so important, and what are people missing out on? Just, hey, something you also mentioned was like, you can spend $28,000 on a car. How far would that get you? But if you spend $28,000 on a degree, now we're talking about seeing a double, triple income. You lose value in a car, man. But your value in knowledge, you never lose.
True. I think you put it wonderfully just now. This is an investment that has a great return in terms of what higher education provides. So let me back up and talk to a couple of comments that you made, because they're perfect. One thing about traditional age of approach to higher education. So the traditional age of approach to higher education is that student who graduates from high school and then becomes, and is enrolled that successive term, and they're probably 18 years old. That 18 to 24-year-old, average time to degree, or the optimal time to degree, 4 years. That's the way it's designed. Is a period of time that is actually still very impactful and is a very important part of a person's growth and development. The mind is still, physiologically, the mind is still in development and growth in this period of time. And so the wonderful thing about it is that we're reinforcing that growth and maturity of the physiological mind experience and the psychological experience that a person has in this education community. We're enhancing that based on the idea of addressing the cultivation of knowledge and applying that knowledge to solve problems. And that's, if I want to distill it down to that, that's what we're doing. And so we're teaching people a wonderful tool and talent that is cross-discipline, across professions. And that is the idea to be able to think and to be able to decide and to make decisions in a structured manner And that's fundamentally what we do in this period of time. Now, successive to that is what you were talking about in terms of the community, and that is, I think, the foundation of what we have done in the American higher education community throughout our evolution. And that is to say, we build a safe space in terms of what an institution of higher education is, on the capacity of the expansion and growth of new knowledge and idea. And what we do through the course of that process is we cultivate the next generation. We teach the next generation who's going to carry that forward. So our faculty and these people who are involved in the development of the disciplines, the research and development, design of application, we're here together to do that in an incubator to try to build the growth of knowledge, to expand the frontier of what we know and what we can do. And we bring students into that to help with that process, to both learn as it grows along, but to pass the torch on to them so that they will continue to take it down the road. We do that in a structured manner, in such a way that we bring people together in a safe space. And when I say safe space, I mean our goal is for it to be physically safe. Don't get me wrong. There's a direct correlation to that for sure. But more importantly, it's a safe space in terms of the expression of idea. What my perspective is growing up, my experiences, the sum of who I am today, the work that I've done, my ancestral heritage, all of these things contribute to what I know. And what you know and what you've experienced in your life growing and coming up to this conversation today is similar but also unique. And the beautiful thing about it is, as we discuss, as we have this conversation right now, we're exchanging ideas based on two different perspectives. And the beautiful thing about it is that there's things that I know that you don't, and there's things that you know that I don't. And by contributing those together in dialogue, in conversation, and in growth, and an open consideration to different perspectives and ideas, we're enhancing the pool of potential. And so that's, I think, the beautiful thing about how we conduct our education. And so when I say it's a safe space, I mean it's safe for different ideas and perspectives, for the diversity of experience and of life, and of challenges and of successes and failures. And we can bring those all together and we can use those collectively. That's the synergy of education. And it's really a powerful piece, because what I know, I may come up with some new ideas, I may come up with some new theories, I may have new ideas of professional practice. But truly, when I'm engaged in conversations with my peers and with other people about what I'm trying to do, there's going to be inevitably a perspective that I never knew or even acknowledged. And it's still appropriate and important to me today that I'm open to that, because I'm learning alongside just everybody else.
Ethan, I'm just here just laughing to myself because, first of all, you're so good. Like, so the whole time that you're talking, I'm like tuned in, and I'm like, I can see, one, that he could have been a teacher if he just got the teacher certification, because he's just here dropping knowledge. And two, yeah, you could have been a good lawyer because you sold me on everything you just said, okay?
That's very kind. I appreciate that. Thank you.
No, man, it makes so much sense. And I really appreciate the way that you see it and the way that you break it down, because I don't know that it was ever really given it to me in that perspective, right? Until the first time that we spoke. And I'm like, man, when you really put, like, I'm a numbers guy. So when you sit here and say, hey, Ephraim, you can spend $28,000 on a car that loses value, or $28,000 in a degree that you're going to see the ROI, like, which one makes sense? Like, of course, this here makes sense. Now, school for everybody, no. But I think even, as you mentioned, just getting those pieces of nuggets that you may need to take you to the next level in your job, that your current job in life, and not understanding what every moment that you get to meet somebody and learn from somebody, it's you're poured into, right? There's things good you take from it, and also some bad that you kind of leave. But you don't know if you just never getting to these group of, and that's why we have networking events. This is why we have, mixers. It's because people look for that camaraderie per se. And that's just some of the best places to have it, where you guys all learn from one another, where you guys all have the same mission. It's getting better, right? Like, how cool is it when we all 20,000 people in the same university want the same mission? We want to succeed.
That's right.
It's contagious. The energy is contagious. I would actually ask, though, one of the things that I've been hearing from higher ed is that obviously we're seeing a drop off, right? Whether it's lifing, whether people are now thinking that I'm going to go be an influencer instead, right? Like that's the
Right.
easy way. Um, how are we engaging those folks to continue to like? I think about I was just having one of the discovery calls that I had with you with someone, and I said, I am actually that student now that I think about it that has two classes to finish an associate's degree. But you know
Mhm.
what? I'm not. No one was saying, "Hey, Ephraim, like, come on, man, like, what are you doing?" No one re-engaged. Like, do you think that there's some disconnect there?
For sure. And completion, I think, is exceptionally important. And so I appreciate that. And one of the things that we try to do in higher education more and more so is to look to those students who have not completed and try to bring them back in for completion and give them credit for the work and the experience that they have. And that's a whole other tangent because to go back to your, I think the comments and in the conversation direction that you were leading me towards is to think about what is the value of education today, and what is it about. So we've talked philosophically, I think, about what the value of education is today, and that is that it is the betterment of the person, of the self. It's the growth and development of the mind. And that's a powerful tool because you take it with you wherever you go. And even two courses short of what your experience may have been in a 2-year institution, that's still an investment that you carry with you and what you learned in those experiences. So that's a powerful thing. And the beautiful thing about education is it compounds. It compounds fiscally, but it also compounds across culturally and sociologically. And what I mean by that is that not only is it a tool that you take with you that is portable and consistent with you going forward, it is it's enriching and invigorating to the person who receives the education. It's beneficial to their family. And specifically, fiscally, people who graduate with degrees in higher education earn on average over the life of their career in work will earn a significant lift in terms of how much more. Approximately between a high school student and a baccalaureate student, approaching $2 million over the lifetime of their career of earnings is what you can expect to see in terms of a salary differential. What happens is that high school graduates who immediately enter into the job pool start with a quick rise in terms of earning. They get because they went from zero to something.
Yep, yep.
But what happens is that salary tends to plateau. And a person who takes 4 years off of the job market to get their degree is at a deficit in terms of time earnings over time. They accelerate equally when they start out in terms of earnings, but they tend to climb higher in terms of earning potential. So what does that mean? That means the immediate result is over the course of your career, you're going to earn more money with a college degree. That's still true today. And I know that there's some people who question that, but that's still quantifiably a validated expression. And then secondly, that is impactful to the person. It's impactful to their family, the quality of life, what they can do, and what their experiences look like. But it also is enriching as we look at further generations. One of the hardest populations of students to begin college are first generation college students because they haven't had that experience and nobody in their family has had that experience about approaching college. And so there's some trepidation or apprehension just because it's unknown. But once you have had a first generation college student, then that next generation is easier to approach higher education because that first generation understands how it works, understands how to do it, and understands and sees the value for it, and they pass that on. And so when we think about a person's experience in life and the earning potential that they can have through continued education, then not only have we changed their condition for their experience now, but we've changed that condition going forward for the legacy of their family that follows. And so it's a powerful tool because it's a multiple investment to the person and to the family and to the future. And so that's where we give back. That's where we give back to the community. So that's a piece that's very important and very, very powerful. higher education today gets a lot of criticism right now, and it's I think that that's probably cyclical, but it also is something that is happening, and we're seeing that today, and we're seeing a kind of a reservation of participation in higher education for two reasons. One, because of the population shift, and so you may have heard in media or discussion, there's a term that we use called the enrollment cliff. And that's an expression of just the population of people in our country. And the recession of 2008 slowed down the birth rate of citizens in our country, understandably, because there was a financial exigency that affected a lot of people and a lot of families. And so people were like, now's not the time to have children. And so that we're seeing the result of that, a slowing down of our birth rate. We see that, that expression in this generation of college students who are approaching higher education. That's one thing that's challenging us right now. The other one is the concern over cost in terms of what it looks like to be in education. So I'll tell you about those two really quickly. About the enrollment cliff, yes, that's true. There's a true value in terms of the total population of people who are going to be participating in higher education, and that's okay. I mean that's just the rhythm of the population in our country. We can address that a couple of ways, and one of the most important ways, in my opinion, is though there may be fewer people approaching higher education, we can counteract that difference in terms of volume by increasing the participation rate. And so when we look at the participation rate of students who are coming out of high school and who would be a traditionally aged student approaching higher education, we can do more by increasing participation in higher education to enhance that enrollment and to counteract that volume difference. And that's important because I think, like I said, I believe that the content and the data supports the investment. And so we just need to, as a society, to continue to encourage that and to continue to supplement that so that it's successful. Because that takes us into our second question. Is higher education too expensive? Higher education is an expensive endeavor, and I appreciate that. But it's an expensive endeavor for the right reasons. And I say that because we look at not just, the physical infrastructure that is a campus, but we look at the people that we're asking to be the people who teach and the people who administer and run these institutions. We want the best and the brightest people to be our faculty members, to be the people who are teaching the next generation. And we need to pay those people appropriately. I think that we underpay teachers across all levels and disciplines. Yep. But that's okay. It's not okay, but it's the state we're in, and so there's a cost associated with it. And then there's a cost associated with the people who keep this place open and keep the lights on and keep the functions functioning, whether that's the grounds and maintenance, whether that's the security, whether that's the people who do room and board and hospitality, whether it's guys like me who sit in an office with a blank wall because I'm new here. I haven't put anything up yet. But who spend time, on a computer crunching numbers and thinking about how we can invite people to participate in higher education. So those things are cost, and those are market values that are, I think, pretty consistent and probably a little bit lower than what you would see in private industry. And so when we look at that and the costs that are associated with that, that's what people are paying for. And we try to reduce that cost to the least burden that we can put on students. In private institutions like mine, particularly, we look at ways that we can provide support, whether that's through scholarship, whether that's through tuition discount, and anything that we can do to try to reduce the cost as a burden or obstacle to people to participate. And we get by on the slimmest of margins, and that's the way we do it. We're nonprofit, but that's what we're here for. We're not here to make money. Mm-hmm. We're here to do it right, and we're trying to do it as efficiently and as effectively as possible.
I love this, man. I love the way you broke it down. Even just now, just thinking about it, I'm a bit, again, back to numbers, and I love data. So you started to break it down like, well, why this may cost this much? This person has to be paid. This has to be done. This has to be upkept. Like, if you want a good environment, we have to also be able to afford that and make sure that we can teach you with the best of the best. So yeah, I think all that definitely makes sense, and sometimes may go over somebody's head when if
Of
they don't think
course.
that way.
Yeah. I completely get that. Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, as we start wrapping up, man, I really want to talk to those that may just feel like this is not even an option for them.
You
I
bet.
think the first time I spoke to you, I told you I grew up thinking that college wasn't even an option for me, right? Literally was told that school wasn't for me. There's so many students out there that probably self-selecting out before they even apply. What do we lose when that happens, and how do we help those individuals just because you got so much education. Like, I think sometimes people are afraid because of what someone said. How do we, those that are, afraid to even ask,
Right.
get that answer, right?
Yeah. There are, there's more than one way to approach education. And so I think that we often get stuck with the idea that there's only one way to do it, and that it has to be at a 4-year institution, and it's going to be a full freight cost to me, and there's no way that I could even approach that.
Yeah.
Or that I don't know if I have the intellectual background in terms of my teaching and experience, or even how well I performed in high school to be qualified. And the beautiful thing about our American higher education system is we provide multiple pathways to experience and education.
Yep.
And some of that is even non-degree. Some of that is micro-credential or credentialed certificates, for example. There's lots of ways to consume education. And like I said, these investments continue to provide, continue to propel a person forward professionally. And as you learn skills and you can apply skills, you become a more valuable employee. You see promotion, you see new opportunity, and so forth. Or you change careers altogether. And so these are all enriched by the credential, and I'll use that collectively because it's all the credential that we can provide. And that is just to say that we, verify that you experienced and learned these skills. So yeah, the traditional 4-year approach is a valuable approach, specifically when I talk about that idea of that cognitive development and what's going to happen for a student in this experience in what we have tried to do as a traditional education method. However, there's great other ways to do it. There's a 2-year approach to approach higher education, and that is to say I'm going to go on an associate's path. That's a quicker pathway to a degree and a credential. And then the beautiful thing about our 2-year system is it has a branch. It branches out. It says, do you want to go on a college track? Do you want to do a college degree track? Or do you want to do a workforce trade development track? And the beautiful thing about that is, especially today, our workforce and our skilled labor sets are highly paid professionals, and they do very well for themselves and their families. So we don't have just the traditional 4-year approach. We have a 2-year approach. We have different ways to provide support and service for that. In terms of financing education, the federal government has long been and continues to be, despite some challenges in terms of the ways we're structuring loan programs. But nonetheless, we continue to have strong federal support in terms of federal financial aid for students to participate in higher education. Those who are in need and those who just need assistance. Yeah. And so we have Pell Grants for those students who are of the lowest economic capability of participation, and in even those families who do have the funds to participate, there's loan programs and federal loan programs designed for them to help ease the burden of what that would cost out of pocket. So we have those federal groups. We have our states across a majority of our states in the United States. We have great programs that are in tandem with our federal programs, both need-based and merit-based in terms of academic performance. And then we have a great number of philanthropic and charitable organizations and industries across the country who also contribute to the growth and development of new participation in higher education. So when you think about that obstacle, that door that looks big and heavy and there's no way I can afford to get in,
Yeah.
I promise you there's different ways that we can find to help a student get an education today. And it's a combination of all those things. We keep adding to the till in terms of what we can add up and find a way to do it, because we'll find a way to get a student here. And it's not always at Hartford, and that's my job. My job is to make everybody come to Hartford. It's a fantastic school. It is. But that said, to me, the most important thing is participation in higher education.
Yeah.
I'm biased, and of course, I think the University of Hartford is fantastic. But I promise you, any choice in higher education is a good choice.
Ethan, for president. I mean, at this point, like, let's go, you know?
Thank you.
Ethan, what is your long-term goal, man? Like, you know, you kind of fell into this world. I can imagine that you took different roles as you got to the seat that you're in today. But have you ever thought a bigger picture, or you just kind of riding the wave, man, wherever it takes you?
I don't know why I got into enrollment management. To tell you the truth, because it's a terribly stressful work. But that said, to me, I have really grown to appreciate the opportunities that higher education provides, our responsibility to being strong and conscientious stewards of this role and responsibility. And so, to me, trying to find a way for an institution to be successful and self-sufficient so that we're not a burden and that we don't close, because those are two things that challenge some of our institutions of higher education today. Some of us are very well structured. You know, some of us have many, many years of growth and development in terms of endowment to support our operations, or we're a large public institution that has the full support of the state alongside federal programs. And then there's some out here who are smaller and more niche in terms of our service and opportunity. And some of those are public, some of those are private. And we're just trying to make sure that we do it right, that we provide the best education that we can, and that we are self-sufficient, and so that we can continue to do this long after I'm gone. Yeah. So to me, you know, my aspirations in higher education, it's a wonderful question, you know, because I'm 28 years in, and I've just now accepted the fact that this is my choice of profession. Because for a while there, I was like, is this really what I'm going to do? Well, you know, maybe I will. And so I'm trying to get better at it every day, and to understand it, not just from the role that I serve, but how an institution is successful, how an institution's healthy, and that we continue to do that so that our students are in a good place and that they have a great experience, so that our faculty have the resources and the comforts that they need to be successful and to grow. And that's for the people who wrap around this institution to make it successful, those people who are seen and unseen. Yeah. That they have the support they can be successful in their work. Because when we all are in line and we're all in sync, then some wonderful experiences happen and some lives are changed for the better.
Yeah, man. Almost 3 decades, man. You definitely this is your calling. This is your passion. This is your purpose. I mean, just listening to you, you can tell that there's nothing but love. You talked about, you know, it's the stressfulness of maybe some days of it, but I can imagine the reward is every single student that you've helped cross that line.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's it. That's what we do it for, man. Like, it's not about the money, but when we can see that we've helped somebody else make a difference in their own lives, our lives are changed because of that, because we realize, oh, man, I made the world a better place.
For sure.
Because of it.
Yeah. And in a month, I'm going to be sitting on the stage watching all these people walk across, turn their tassel, take their diploma, and watch the future just completely open up in front of them.
That fertilization that we talked about, right?
That's right.
Just going out into the world.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're going to bloom.
Coming from Hartford at that.
Exactly.
Ethan, man, we thank you so much for the time, man. You really have dropped so much information on higher ed and the way that we should look at higher ed. I don't know that everyone gives it the way that you give it, so I really did appreciate that. Where can people find more information? Like, what is the website for Hartford? Are you guys on social so people can kind of see that lifestyle as well?
Of course, yes, and thank you. You can find us at hartford.edu, hartford.edu, hartford.edu. You'll find Hartford on all of the social channels, Facebook, Instagram. You can find more in LinkedIn. You can find us in all those places. You can find me there, and know that the Hartford Hawks are here to support higher education, and we would love to have more people soar with us.
Well, Ethan, I appreciate your time. If you guys are still watching, make sure you guys do like, subscribe, and comment. These are the conversations that I really enjoy because it allows us to see the resources that are in our own backyard. Sometimes we ask ourselves, how do we get to the next level? It's just really educating yourself. Sometimes finding out information. Sometimes it may be joining in Hartford so you can continue to that long journey of a success. But we thank you here, Hart Hustle Podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. My name's Reframe. This is Ethan. Latest.
Thank you.